some, training.
She said,
She
mess around.
Nope.
Which is good.
She goes and gets them. Johnny Joe is not coming.
It's not coming, so we
Not
are
going to be
here.
able to make it.
Okay, so I'm going to call the March 9th, 2023 meeting of the Clarksburg Urban Renewal Authority to order.
Roll call upon arrival.
Thank you. Okay, and you were emailed and before you minutes of the February 9th.
No, they're postponed because I'm in the middle of elections.
Okay, so no.
That's
so
okay. Yeah, it'll be
so
after
just table.
election.
Any public comment? And here for side lot. You were here last time. Thank you for coming back. We don't have any other public here, so just get right to
I'm
the
actually
second.
here today too, but I don't have a ring.
Oh, good,
I had an ear
good.
infection, I couldn't hear nothing.
Well, this is a better day anyway. We're all good to go. And you're all good to go.
Yes.
All right.
So first up, I have land reuse agency, just general discussion update. We are proceeding with discussions with council on creating a land reuse agency. This would be complementary to the Urban Renewal Authority, whereas the Urban Renewal Authority acts as a body that has eminent domain powers to acquire property and sell property. The land reuse agency is more of a land bank. Specifically, it has powers to purchase properties at tax sale with right of first refusal, the ability to come in as the first bidder. Still have to pay for the property, still have to pay the back taxes, so it's not free property. It's definitely, there's a process involved it's a little bit challenging. What does require legal assistance, but overall, we're moving forward with that discussion. If at some point, we're probably going to look at either having the member of the either the agency on the URA, possibly just there's some collaboration between both boards. So we're still working with the city attorney to form the membership. City council is also supposed to be looking for potential membership. If you know anyone that would be a benefit to, especially when you look at what a land reuse agency can do, it almost becomes, there's a lot of donation potential. There's a lot of estate planning issues. There's a lot of just unique things that it can take advantage of to acquire properties. So individuals with a wide range of skill sets are able to assist with this type of board. But next up, we have the side lot program, property transfers. In front of you, there's a single sheet. We really don't have an application process. If the general public wants to come in with a redevelopment plan for city property, we have the side lot program where if an abutting property owner would like to purchase property, they're able to go through that program, provided that they are in compliance with our codes and with our any financial issues. They have the potential then to seek the property through your recommendation to city council, and city council transferring the property to the Urban Renewal Authority, and then the Urban Renewal Authority to the applicant. This allows for, this would be a process where even if the city would be redeveloping property, we could come in, bring it before the board for advisory opinion on the issue. And it would provide a streamlined, just a generalized streamlined review, because as it is right now, like I said, we don't have necessarily even the ability to entertain private proposals. So if someone were to come in seeking to purchase property, I'm not sure where I would direct someone in that instance if it's just like a general ask. Most likely to city council as it is right now, but as it relates to Urban Renewal Authority activities, you're going to be involved with the sale of the property. So you should be involved probably with the pre-application stages as well. So the application is pretty short, just one page. The emphasis being that they're going to have to say what they want to do with the property, and that itself becomes the redevelopment plan in keeping with the statutory requirements for the Urban Renewal Authority to do certain actions with property. So this would then become its own plan, and the building permits associated would then be able to, I guess, provide for the actual redevelopment. I understand this is pretty generalized right now. We can discuss this more in a workshop, or if it makes more sense to just discuss it through email after digesting just the general material.
So you're basically saying that we have the side lot program, and right now we've got guidelines, but not a formal application.
Well, we do have the side lot program application, but if there's an instance where a developer would like to purchase a city lot for the purpose, like redeveloping it either into a vacant lot into housing, commercial, anything, there's no real process for that person to make a request to the city.
For its development, for a specific development.
Yes,
that you're gonna do.
and this would allow us, when, as the agent, the Urban Renewal Authority is by ordinance what the city is to use to dispose of properties for redevelopment. So we should be utilizing the Urban Renewal Authority's services for any disposition of properties that affect the residential, commercial, industrial, and preservation needs for the city. So if it has redevelopment potential, and we are able to establish plans, and the city then can have an application, general understanding of what's going on, formal understanding within the planning process, then with building permits, and would be able to get rid of the property and buy either a quick claim deed or other transfer mechanism. We can develop this in more detail, and we would have it then set up as a general program. Keep saying general. We'll set it up as a program similar to the side lot program or other side grant award program. That way, we could have this clearly defined what redevelopment activities are permitted to be reviewed and any additional criteria that we could discuss.
So it's basically a way then for Urban Renewal Authority to know more about what's happening to property that was purchased, taken over.
It really allows for the developer to be able to purchase properties from the city of Clarksburg, because otherwise, right now, there is no formal process, and there would be a question generally as to why should we be giving this property, so you would be providing that recommendation to city council.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be adjacent to property they already have.
That's correct.
Which is what differentiates it from the side lot program. Okay. So that's really kind of like letter C here in a way.
Yes.
Right. Well,
That's okay.
okay. I got you. All right. Do you have anything else for?
That's all I have for my report.
Thank you. Ms. Finance Director.
I left everyone a report, it's very short.
Perfect.
Just an update on the facade grant funds. We have $2,284 left in that line unless you all would wish to ask council for a revision for more funds this year. And the total demolition cost collected in the month of February, $20,242.90.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. You're making progress. Great, thank you. I mean, I think that's something we may have to consider, asking for more funding if we get more applications. I don't know if that's even possible, but we've got to get April, May, June, 3 more months, so we'll see what we have. All right, there's no unfinished business on the agenda. Does anybody have any unfinished business? All right, so let's go to new business. Looks like we have 3 side lot applications. We do not have any facade grant applications this month, so that 2,200 will carry over to next month. All right.
So first up, this is 105 Grove Avenue. This is Tech District 3, Tax Map 4, Parcel 370. The Urban Renewal Authority received a completed side lot application on January 3rd from JFE Rentals LLC, care of Pat Biglianco. I'm probably mispronouncing that, I apologize. JFE Rentals LLC is seeking to obtain 105 Grove Avenue, Tax District 3, Tax Map 4, Parcel 370. Application erroneously states 37. It's because there's a bunch of zeros coming after the ID. From the city of Clarksburg WV for the development of a parking lot. The applicant is the owner of the adjoining parcel 369, which is used as an apartment building. Transfer of the apartment building occurred on November 4th, 2022, and is recorded in deed book 1744 on page 1063 in the Harrison County Courthouse. The applicant is proposing a purchase price of $1,000. In reviewing this application, staff conducted a real estate assessment, specifically looking at the tax basis for the land value and then comparing that to a similar parking lot in the vicinity. It's not going to be exact, it just provides a generalization of the value. So, Urban Renewal Authority is tasked with providing a recommendation to the Clarksburg City Council to allow for the real property, Tax District 3, Tax Map 4, Parcel 370 to be transferred to the Urban Renewal Authority, whereby the authority will sell the property to JFE Rentals LLC. Harrison County tax records for 105 Grove Avenue are located on pages 2 and 3 of the report. The information identifies a tax assessment land value of $16,200 and provides a presumed fair market value of $27,000. Further, 105 Grove Avenue was last purchased as a functional property in 1992 with a sales price of $43,500, roughly the equivalent of $91,370.63, adjusting for inflation. Comparing this data to similar parcel with parking lot use was achieved by comparing parcel 307, 105 Grove Avenue to a parking lot identified as parcel 105, located adjacent to the former Vito's Pizza business at the intersection of Park Boulevard and Milford Street. The parking lot has an appraised value of $47,000, $43,000 of which is for the land, $4,500 for the paving improvements. Parcel 105's 2022 property tax was $885.44 for the entire year, resulting in an estimated payment to the city of Clarksburg in the amount of $235 more or less. Staff anticipates that if 105 Grove Avenue were improved as a privately owned accessory parking lot, the city of Clarksburg would recoup $103.50 in property tax revenues for a total of $1,035 after 10 years and $2,846.25 after a period of 27.5 years. That would allow for the full amortization of the apartment building. This would also not account for incidental costs to the city in the form of mowing and other property maintenance expenses. In particular, in getting a mowing crew out there, we're looking at two to three times a year, $500. It's only going to go up over time. Especially it's labor costs, so it's going to go up over time. We can provide a recommendation now. I believe the applicant's present for their both with 105. If you'd like to ask him additional questions, but staff's recommending approval.
I guess in looking at it, I'm wondering why, if it's worth so much more, we're selling it for $1,000. I understand that the tax amortization and what it would save us, but is there a way other than that you came up with $1,000?
That's what the applicant's provided. I mean,
Yeah, okay, so it's just what you kind of spitball.
What is it?
That's just kind of what you ought, yeah, that's just what you.
Yeah, because what it's gonna cost me at the parking lot, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of money to purchase the lot and do the parking lot. Cause I'm in the middle of remodeling my other one, so once I get those done, refinance, but it's kinda.
But do you have discussion?
So currently, if you have the apartments and you're remodeling those, then you have the parking lot, so you have the funds to turn it into a parking lot. You just don't have the funds to pay additional for the lot
Well,
itself. Like, for example, it's valued at 16,000. A comparison, a fair number would be closer to like $8,000 or $10,000. I understand, but what I'm saying is, if you bought it today for 1,000, when would it become a parking lot?
But October, so
So you're going,
Well,
now,
well,
when you convert that to a parking lot, what are your plans? Are you gonna
I'm gonna,
peel the sod?
yeah, I'm gonna, cause I got the bag, I'm gonna grade it all down to slope to the road
Okay,
and then concrete it.
concrete.
Yeah,
How big's that lot? How many square feet is that lot? You're gonna concrete the whole lot,
Looks like it's about a tenth of an acre.
so a little tenth of an acre's 44,000, so a 4,000 square foot lot. What's the cost estimate on the concrete? How thick are you pouring it?
5.5 inches. I haven't figured it up yet, but
Concrete runs about
it's about
250
190 yards, yeah,
200 a yard,
yeah, but.
27 square feet, cubic feet. You're gonna be in quite a bit for that concrete.
Well, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Maybe $12,000 or $15,000.
cheaper.
Yeah,
So, and I can do the concrete myself.
right.
The blacktop, I gotta do a whole, I price blacktop and other stuff.
So you would, the concrete, you wouldn't pour the whole 4,000 square feet of that lot at one time. You just
No,
kind of
no.
panel it in.
Right.
Okay.
Do you have either of you questions, comments?
What's the progress on the apartment building?
Well, the two I'm working on, they should be done by the end of this month. And then I got 4 more to do after that, but it's cabinets and windows, it's not like it's gutting it out, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's a great use for that piece of land, but I don't know how fiscally we let something go for $1,000 when it's like bottom appraisal is 16,000. I just,
So basically he's got 2 apartments he's almost done with. He's got 4 more to work on.
I got 10 total there.
10 total
Yeah,
altogether. It might be,
I got 4,
how solid is the ground to park there?
what is it?
How solid is the ground to park there right now?
Pretty solid other than the part where there's a small basement when I watched it.
I think maybe we table this because we definitely want to try to help him, but at the same time, it's not like he needs the parking tomorrow. And the other thing is too, if he didn't have the parking, what would he do with his apartments anyway? You know, so if you got 10 units there and you didn't have this parking lot, is there enough off-street parking for 10 apartments there?
No, I only got 4 spots.
4 spots. So, yeah, I think that's maybe something we table and meet with him individually on to see a purchase.
Mr. Whitmore, do you have any provisions in the sidewalk program, qualifications that talk about, what exactly your standards are for selling and what amount? Do you have like a percentage of, because the problem is, I think if we get into this with someone who wants to purchase something like this and then we allow for us to go that much below,
Yes.
then how do we regulate that then later for, in the future?
The board could justify that as your action alone is indicative of a market failure, first off. So you're going to be selling property at below market rates.
Yes, which, yeah, makes sense.
Now, this is an appraisal based on a tax assessment. It's not going to be I guess what would be considered a contemporary appraisal. We've only provided, like when we're doing our analysis, we're only providing one comparable. This is something especially when we're talking about I guess not necessarily, a higher density use, we can seek an appraisal. It's not in the actual program language, but I mean, it's something if the board would like to see in this case, we can see how we can price it out. And if it's feasible to proceed with getting the property appraised, then we can use that information and sell it either.
Well, my take on it is, and no disrespect to anybody here, but it kind of puts us in a bad light. This gentleman wants to do something. He makes an offer. And again, no disrespect to you, but if we let you have a piece of property at $16,000 for $1,000, then there's going to be a land rush in here, and we're just going to dispose of all the property. I think moving forward, an appraisal will again, it'll be another expense to the city, but we could also have an FMV done, a fair market value, where you get 2 or 3 realtors to walk and say, hey, what would this bring if you was going to put it on the market? You take a general consensus of that, and they say $6,000. Then we can come back to the gentleman and say, here's where it's at. But when you reduce value of a piece of property by 85%, 86%.
Well, I think part of why we tabled this last time was without you here and looking at this, there's not really a mechanism by which we decide or negotiate the sale of the property.
I'm wondering
other than
in
appraisal.
other sidewalk programs in other cities, how do they determine, do they have a set?
It's usually based on what other properties have sold for. Generally in the $500 to $1,000 range for residential based
So that's
properties.
normally what they do.
Well, we're talking about like Huntington, Parkersburg, in Michigan, areas that have hundreds of vacant houses and very robust demolition programs when there's ample land. I think we can all recognize there might be something more unique with this specific piece of land. But I've got to so for example, with the next case, it involves a residential lot, which that parcel, it's probably not going to be able to recoup its value, but it meets the criteria of creating a side lot. So, I mean, this has got to be something we need to either, I guess, discuss some more with what we want to see as a program, or maybe we can come up with, I guess, firm guidelines on if we're going to look at the appraisal values from the tax assessor tool to establish what we're looking at. That way it's every property, it's being valued at least by the county, and then you have justification based on metric.
We'd like to pay nothing. So, I mean, this is sort of where we were, and I hate to put you off again, but I'm not sure these applications are really indicative of the plan when this side lot program was developed. And I'm not sure we're clear enough on how we're deciding purchase price to go forward. I mean, we're talking about now accepting a total of $1,500 for several $1,000s worth of property. And I understand we then wouldn't have the maintenance and whatnot, but I agree with Councilwoman Junkins. It's a fairly significant deal, and Mr. Payne said this is a precedent, and that's not in the program guidelines.
And I perfectly understand that we cannot be obviously coming close to what the value of the property is, or we'll shoot ourselves in the foot, because people in our area can obviously not afford to purchase the properties. We know that would be a concern and a problem. But I do think that we have to have something that we can follow, because if we do not, then who determines and how, this
Right.
is my friend coming in who they have a lot, oh, we'll just give it to them, but we're going to charge him $1,000. So we have to have some kind of something guideline that we can go by.
Okay.
I think being on the low end makes sense. But how do we determine then? We have to have something that we can go by.
I think even if we were to say 10% of tax assessment, that comes within pretty close to what you're thinking. But again, we would want the same assessment mechanism across the board in the same or similar acceptable rate of pay.
Yeah.
I think, because especially you're doing a great job coming in telling us what you're going to use it for. Some people may not know.
And obviously what it's going to be used for, like you said, if it's residential or if it's something that's going to be, that probably would also be a determining factor in what we ask for. But get us something that we can kind of go off of with that.
I can do this. Staff, what we can do then, recommend tabling tonight's items, with the exception of the third one. I think we should probably still have a discussion on that. But we can work with our peer jurisdictions and also see other research to establish if there is just a quantitative tool that we can just establish value, be able to justify that, at least, providing some justification for further review, for a standard of review, I should say. So I'll also engage with Mr. Kimball to see what he would like to see from the board when it comes to these price sales, because I'm challenged, because I can negotiate, but at the same time, if I'm asking for a couple $100 more and it kills the sale, it's like, ooh, what are we doing? So I agree with everything you all are saying. I think staff will be able to provide this information to you at the next meeting. We'll get to you in the executive director's report, and we can have discussion then on either necessary resolutions in time and to sequence everything and have a better discussion on pricing.
Okay. So is there a motion on new business A 105 Grove Avenue Sidewalk Program application?
Motion to table.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? So, I know we're gonna ask you to come, you don't have to come back again a third time, but this is the first one of these we've done our interest is in developing a fair way to do this. Our interest is not in gouging you and trying, so I appreciate your patience.
The value and what somebody's willing to give are two different things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Taking a price for whatever, but if somebody's willing to give X amount of dollars, that's what it's actually worth. As opposed to,
Right.
it's worth this, well, that's a guesstimation.
Well, and I think it's made even more difficult when we don't have competing buyers. So what one
Sitting there for 4 to 5 years.
it could be, but I think as holders of kind of the fiscal responsibility for the city, that's something that's got to be hammered out. That's an extra area that's got to be hammered out.
Well, I'm investing money in the city, so it's not like you're just giving it away.
No, we appreciate that.
So.
We appreciate that, and I think we've gone through this with other programs where we're like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, and so now we've just got to tighten something up, and the goal, as Mr. Payne said, is for you to be able to get this property, and that's not gouge you for that property, but we've got to make sure that our process is sound in how we're doing it. So we appreciate your patience with this. Okay, so the next application, B 765 Glendale Avenue.
If you would like, given the discussion we just had, the previous item, and moving to table this item as well.
Okay. Is there a motion
Table.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That will be tabled. Okay, letter C, 514 E.B. Saunders Way.
The Clarksburg Urban Renewal Authority received a completed facade grant application on February 1st, 2023 from James Miller, the owner of 514 E.B. Saunders Way, identified as tax map 24, parcel 606. Mr. Miller seeks to obtain parcels 581A, 582.1B, and 582. That's identified as A, B, and C, I'm sorry, in the map below. The Urban Renewal Authority is tasked with providing a recommendation to the Clarksburg City Council to allow for the real property, those parcels 581, 582, and 582.1, to be transferred to the Urban Renewal Authority, whereby the authority will sell the property to Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller is not an abutting property owner per program guidelines, and consolidation can occur to enable a buildable parcel. In reviewing tax data, there are abundant abutting properties currently available for purchase through the tax sale program as provided in the imaging below. As shown in that imaging, parcels 569 and 572 abut the subject lot and appear to be in a state where redemption can occur, allowing for applicant participation. With this recommendation is, as the applicant is ineligible for participation in the program per the program guidelines and alternative properties are available to enable participation, staff recommends that this application be denied. That concludes the staff report.
Is it not to your discretion if somebody, if an applicant, sort of like with the facade program, if they don't meet guidelines, is that not within your discretion to just not accept the application?
I can do that with direction. Yeah, we can do that. With this then, going forward with this program, this one was a little funny because if you look at it, at one point it did appear to be, so it's put on the
Yeah.
agenda, but there's a separation.
Okay.
So, but
So-
we will, going forward, we will make sure that applications that they have to meet all eligibility criteria similar to the facade grant program, and other programs to be able to be put on the agenda.
Okay, because I think that would more quickly allow applicants to kind of be educated on the program and know where they stand. Okay, so at this point, we need, if you all want to, a motion to deny for lack of eligibility.
I'll make a motion.
Second, okay. The motion is to deny the application for the side lot program for 514 E.B. Saunders Way because of ineligibility. It's not an adjacent property. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. There any announcements? Any training announcements? Anything?
I do not. I mean, the newspaper seems to make it imply there's going to be a new city manager, and you're sitting next to an interim one, so maybe he can drop a bomb on us or something, but,
We don't know
okay,
yet.
nope.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Okay.
Nothing official.
All right. So we'll just wait.
We will, staff will be getting you that information electronically regarding potential pricing schemes. That way we can go into the April meeting and be able to provide another opportunity for Mr. Miller then to apply.
Okay. Yes, and I think if we can get the information we're wanting to kind of tidy that
Yes.
cost up, then we could actually hopefully act in April on these.
We'll put it on the agenda and have the materials, but it'll be something if we'll have discussion on, I'll be sending out the materials electronically. If we need to have any pre-meeting discussions, then we can schedule a workshop as necessary.
Would you also be able to send us a little bit of information about how that cost structure works in, you're saying
Yes.
Huntington, Pittsburgh, other places, just so we
Yes.
are up to date on it too?
Yeah, so I'll be drafting that staff report next week.
Okay, awesome.
Are you reaching out to people, John, about about this? How are you getting the word out about the side lot program?
Well, we really are not advertising this program or the facade grant program directly. We have listings of properties that the city owns. We've identified those properties that are, I guess we'd say, prime for redevelopment. So some properties, it may be like a 17 square inch triangle or something, just something odd like that, because it happened with road design and right of way acquisition. For whatever reason, there's those parcels we have, so we have listings of it. Otherwise, though, we're not actively recruiting people to take advantage of the program. This one, when I try to say since the beginning of the year, we've had applicants, individuals interested in obtaining properties from the city. That's why we've been seeing if they'd work with the side lot program and what's instigated in this redevelopment program. But yeah, no direct advertising is occurring. Now, it's something we don't have any budgeting for, but we could investigate.
Is there anything that you could do possibly with Public Works, because with grass, becoming an issue in the near future, to maybe sit down and review what NOVs they've written for lots that are empty, and maybe reach out to abutting property owners to see if there's a possibility that they would be interested. Because if you're not aware that this is happening, then
it's something we could do, especially with the C-Click Fix program. We have a mapping that occurring as well, so we can identify. I think this is something we can do. We'll have to, and the feasibility of making it work, I think there's only so many properties, so let me put this on the list to work on, and I'll be able to report back on next month. But yeah, I think we could do a direct contact. Yeah.
We can give that to Johnny Joe.
yeah.
I
Well, I know that there's a lot of interest in the city of, if they're mowing grass every summer, the same lots over and over and over, and they're not getting paid when they, issue an NOV or whatever it is the process is. And I know that, even in campaigning and walking around, a lot of property owners are saying, abutting property owners, man, I wish I could purchase that property. Well, if they're not aware that they can, and now that this is a new development, reaching out to them, contacting them, and letting them know this is but first let's hammer out the details.
Yeah. So well, pricing is going to be the next main issue, but I'll be able to get hopefully some addresses and naming, so we'll be able to send out something directly to the abutting property owners, because that is something we haven't done, so it does make perfect sense. We'll get on that.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Third.
Okay, all in favor? Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? There. And we're out of here.
As we wrap up, please have patience with us. The reason I want this is what it's not like. It's a lot. You've got to do